All right, the club is back. Some of us fresh off of the very first ever live Underdog Cardio Club event. We'll recap that. We got Jack Settleman back in the saddle, also with a huge announcement of his own that we will get the behind the scenes makings of here on the show. And then we will hop in a weekly winners draft. We give a lot of love to Best Ball Mania on other streams, but the format on Underdog has captivated our attention around here, and we will battle in those streets. It's the club. Let's do it. Oh, look at you, Jack. Welcome back to the club. You've been traveling, and now you got a big announcement. How have you been, man?
I've been good. How have you been? You looked fantastic in your photo with the headset. So I was I was cracking up looking at that.
Yeah, Pete crushed it.
I mean, I legitimately watched. And so to catch people up to speed. So we had that Underdog Cardio Club live event in Brooklyn. We rented out a spin studio and we all did a cardio club draft while all on the spin bikes. I've obviously done lots of drafts. I've obviously bullshitted for 45 minutes at a time. I've never actually led a spin class. And so I did grind a Soul Cycle video on YouTube to try to get me into character. But as Andy will attest, I did kind of forget all about the spin class itself. And I just had everyone out of the saddle just pedaling the entire time, essentially.
8 mile climb, baby.
I enjoyed it. His strategy was basically kind of harass the people in the class, make them really feel belittled, not good enough, and that they had to get out of the saddle.
So nothing changes from the streams?
No, nothing changed. There were a couple times where he was intentionally milking all 30 seconds of the clock on his picks. Other times where he unintentionally did. But no, it was a lot of fun. It was a good time. It was nice to meet a bunch of people too. It was a lot of people. I mean, it was big enough that I wasn't in the draft.
Yeah, we didn't have enough, because we just did a 12-person draft, but we had 24, 25 bikes. So shout out to Underdog for organizing that. And they got some of our drinks and food at a bar afterwards. Clay, I know how much it tore you up not to be there because I was like, this is the most Clay event thing ever. Underdog Cardio Club in Brooklyn, and you were not there.
In Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn in particular. Yeah, the location specific, man. It pained me, bro. I had super FOMO. I was enjoying the tweets, the IG snaps and everything in between. Yeah, I was there in spirit. I'm gonna get a Peloton in today, little cardio club action probably after the club to make it up. Gotta pay my dues. But glad to hear you're on your Alex Toussaint game, man. Like, shout out.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I'm getting invited back to host any spin classes, but yes.
I heard you got that Peloton deal on lock, baby. That's what I heard.
But yeah, thank you to everyone who came out for that. We had a nice mix of Underdog Cardio Club members, some new people who were new to the UCC streets. Really a fun time. Jack, did I see too on Twitter? You only have 10 Best Ball Mania drafts under your belt. You're gonna have a busy August coming up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, should we bet it again? I mean, last time I think I was at 100 at this point, and you thought I wouldn't get there. So, I don't know what it is because the drafts are definitely the same amount of time, but I don't know. I'm struggling to find 45 minutes where I can really sit down and do them. But yeah, I'm just fading all the meta. So drafting early, drafting wide receivers. I'm
drafting it all.
Just drafting it all.
I'm fading the drafting concept in general.
Yeah, he's post-draft.
So I'm in some slows. I'm enjoying the slows right now. I'm not enjoying. I got bricks overlay on. I'm in it. Don't fret. But my issue is I don't know who tweeted it that maybe player takes are now the edge. I think Davis might have tweeted it. I just don't want to be robotic. I feel like the last 2 years you turn into a robot. You're just trying to draft structurally, and now I'm just I want to click Chris Olave every time I see him. So I might just
call that vibes based drafting.
Yeah,
vibes based drafting is still definitely in vogue right now.
Okay, I think that's where I want to be. Unlike Andy, who's got Lil Wayne's artificial intelligence drafting NHL contests on Tuesday night. Just auto clicking. So. We'll see. 150 at this point in time. that would be a race.
How was your vacation? Right, you were in Croatia.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I would say I pretty much fled the country to avoid going to the Underdog Cardio Club because my history in cycling is actually pretty interesting. Growing up, I played a ton of sports, but the one thing that my parents never taught me was how to ride a bike. So one random day, I was probably like 12 or 13, I was at a friend's and they just taught me that day and gradually from just learning how to ride to doing my first hill, and the chain came off the bike and like scarred like my calf. So that was my first experience riding a bike. And then my first experience in a cycling class, I've ridden bikes since, and I'm not great at it. I'm not going to lie, especially for someone who considers himself somewhat athletic. But I got on the bike at a cycling class, and the next day I was fine. And then 2-3 days later, I could like barely walk. And so I went to the doctor, and because I thought I had hurt myself. And I literally thought I tore both my hamstrings off the bone. And
Goodness.
She charged me $350 and prescribed Advil. I was like so sore. So pretty embarrassing moment there. And I try to avoid the bike as much as possible.
My legs were sore after the cardio club. I don't really bike very often. I used to a lot
Yeah.
growing up, but it's just like not my preferred choice of cardio. And I was sore.
Yeah,
So-
but
I
not
didn't go to the hospital
Go to the
for it, but-
doctor. Yeah,
Yeah.
tell people you tore your hamstrings on crutches. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, it sounds like your biking experience was even more treacherous than my UCC class. So, and let us know what's this big announcement here. You guys are getting into the athlete podcasting game over at Snapchat. Let people know what's going on.
Yeah, we've been working on this for a few months. Obviously, the athlete-driven pods are super super popular right now. I think the reason for that is they're like, social media has gifted access into a player's life, but it wasn't really long form. And any time you hear a player talking is like a documentary or maybe, a press conference, which is pretty short form. Now they have this, voice and a platform for that. And so we wanted to find an athlete that made sense. And obviously Marlon makes a world of sense for us, me being a Ravens fan, being from Baltimore, and his personality is just absolutely electric. He's like really, really good at social media. Underdog has a bunch of athlete-driven pods. Obviously, the Kelsey pod is super popular. But I have actually, this was in our deck. And so here's 12 or 15 of the athlete-driven pods. And McAfee is football and the Kelseys are football, but if you actually look, and then I am athlete, but the rest are actually basketball and other pop culture ones. So I guess it's more rare than I when we were putting it together thought to get access to an athlete during the season every single week, and someone who is going to be with a team that whether you think they're going to be good or not, and Monken's going to be good for the Ravens, they'll be popular. Odell dyed his hair purple, he's all in. So we're really pumped. And then when I wrote the tweet or the social post, there were some crazy similarities that were fun to put together. But we're going down to Baltimore, do some testing this weekend, and then August 24th, I think, should be the first episode. So really pumped for it, really excited.
What's going to be the recording schedule? I assume he's going to be remote. How is that going to work?
So good question. So and I do want to talk about what Mackins just put in the chat. I don't know if you guys saw that right before we got on.
Yeah,
I did not.
Penn just partnered with ESPN, and then they're rebranding Barstool Sportsbook, including to ESPN Bet. But
Holy
we'll talk
shit.
about that. We'll talk about that.
I saw another account tweet something about they did somehow, or the Barstool Sportsbook might go back to Portnoy or something. I don't know. We have to,
I think
facts about it.
just tweeted that.
I saw another
Anyway,
zero hedge was ahead of it too.
fuck ESPN. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, ESPN's like a dying company, so I'm not surprised that they're trying to figure out ways to.
Oh yeah,
make some money.
100% of Barstool goes back to Portnoy. It says
Really
being
Confirmed?
reported.
Wow. All right.
That's what was being reported.
Anyways, to answer Pete's question, I found it very, very important to do in person. So I'm actually training down to Baltimore every Monday. So we're gonna record the day after the game. I'll use those, 2.5, 3 hours to kind of like prep the show, and then I just won't take meetings on Monday. I don't find like working on trains to be too difficult, but for me, like that's what I always point to with like the success of McAfee is like once they got in studio, that's like when there's just more opportunity. So we're building something in his apartment, and yeah, it's gonna be cool. Hopefully, get some fun guests on, and the vibe of the show is gonna be like he just doesn't have a filter, and so we want that to kind of run because I think that could be really good. But between playing at Alabama, playing for the Ravens, he's just a chaotic person, and then being an all-pro, like there's just a ton of opportunity.
And I assume you guys are going to do the full shebang as far as video, podcast, audio, social clips, all that.
Yeah. We'll definitely, do what works. And
do you guys have a studio down there and everything, and like a engineer and all that?
We're gonna put it in a room in his place. So we have a set designer right now building that out, and we'll go set that up over the next couple of weeks. And 3 cam, one wide shot, 2 punched in on each of us, and then obviously with the guests, we'll have that there. So yeah, we're like it's cool. It's like a full investment kind of into the content, and we actually gave him a little bit of equity in the company.
Oh, nice.
It's a multi-year deal. I don't want to say how long, but it's like very long, which is
like
Roham
really 100 project.
10-year max, baby. No.
Yeah, 100 year. But no, I thought it was cool because him and his team actually proposed the length of the deal, and a lot of these guys, cool. They're seeing like, oh, I want to get involved, but I want to get paid a ton, and maybe we'll do in the off season, we'll do whatever. But he actually is very committed to this, so. Yeah, this is a big venture for us, and then we're going to every Thursday night game this year. Instead of Monday.
Holy shit, dude. Your traveling is going to be insane. To and from Baltimore and Thursday night every week. Jeez.
Yeah. I honestly, like, I guess maybe I'm naive to it. I just think of it as like going to work on the Mondays. Like sitting on a train and being on my computer working is the same to me as like being here. It's 15 minutes to get to Penn Station. And Thursday nights actually is a much easier travel schedule for us because if it's a far trip, we can just leave Wednesday night. And if it's a close trip, we leave Thursday morning. Mondays, it was like we didn't want to leave Sunday night because the weekend and all that. So, it's obviously I'll be getting a couple miles on the account, but I got a honeymoon to plan anyway. So Hallie is
the alpha. That's the alpha.
Exactly.
I used points to book a lot of our honeymoon, and that was good.
What
if
other
you
question
need a sound engineer person or anything for the podcast, or just want to talk, because we did all of the We Do a Little stuff live in person, triple camera setup, all that, and so happy to connect you. He's actually looking for work too if you need someone.
Okay,
but
yeah,
I thought you were offering Andy to.
No, I am not going to go down to Baltimore, but I do know someone who could probably be pretty helpful there if you need any input.
Yeah, no, definitely connect me. We talking to we want it to be like the most premium premier looking pod, so we're talking to everyone.
I was going to ask you, had Marlon been approached by anyone else to do this? Did you guys find yourself like competing against other offers, or was it just the generic idea of like he's aware that other athletes do these pods and there's a market for it?
Yeah, it's actually, I'm like a nerd with this stuff. It's why Nick and I do big content, because I just love like media and social and all that stuff. And so I've been wanting to like get involved with this stuff for years and years and years. But the athlete pod has been kind of a, a newer thing in the space. And so when you actually start to write down like who makes sense for this, the list gets like shockingly small. Like,
yeah,
I think what Trae Young's attempting to do and like going for it is very admirable, but like Trae Young isn't like, his show is not working. He got on Gilbert today, and like hopefully that'll kind of help jumpstart them. But like Trae Young, who's an all-star, is 5 million followers. Like if he's not working very well, it's like, okay, so who really can do this? And so Marlon was like at the very top of our list. And then I've been connected with him and friendly with him for the last, year and a half. So it kind of just worked out perfect. But to answer your question, I know that another company was very, very interested in him. I think we got to him a little bit earlier and kind of closed the door before, because we didn't really have much more to go with negotiation. Like we made the offer that we could make. So yeah, it
sounds like you guys offered some stuff though that other probably sites couldn't offer, with getting in the ground floor of a company, you coming to him, like him feeling comfortable doing it at his house, and like your history with the Ravens. I bet you had a lot of competitive edges there.
Yeah, without a doubt. And he's the guy. So we're pumped for it, and you'll be seeing some of his crazy takes on the timeline soon enough.
Can you get us some alpha on the the Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers? How are we supposed to be stacking up these Ravens in our best ball drafts? That would be helpful.
Please.
I don't even know if they would know right now. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Rashad, he started running yesterday, but I do laugh, and to take it back to like the who am I drafting or how am I drafting? It's like, I feel like you guys I like to not be a fantasy player in June, July, which is very anti-underdog, but it's just who I am. And like seeing fantasy Twitter fall for the training camp stuff like over and over and over again every single June, July, just like overreacting to like every single thing is just so amusing to me. So like, obviously Zay Flowers report, he's a joystick and now he's wide receiver 1. Like tomorrow Bateman will be back and he'll be wide receiver 1. Then Odell will have a catch on, in the game and he'll be wide receiver 1. So I doubt there's anything.
Yeah. Well,
it's kind of fun to draft the swings where it's like Justin Ross is up 20 spots, whoever's down 10 spots, and then like in a week it'll be totally different. I feel like right now one of the big swings is like Tank Bigsby and ETN, where it's like there's like 3 reports of Bigsby had a rushing touchdown in practice. Like, oh my god!
in practice, like in non-contact practice, like he had a 5-yard rushing touchdown.
We all just hopped in a weekly winners draft. I think there's 2 more spots if you want to join us. As this draft is getting underway, let's talk about this ESPN thing. I just pulled up the article here from Hollywood Reporter. ESPN inks $2 billion deal for gambling venture with Penn Entertainment. Some people in the chat already speculating about stuff. You guys have any snap takes on what's going on here?
Probably get the right.
Snap take is
10
pretty
years.
Yeah.
10 years. Wow.
And Penn's paying ESPN $1.5 billion over those 10 years.
Wow. This is how funny is this? Like juxtaposed. Remember when Pardon My Take had like their show on ESPN?
The Barstool
like
Van Talk. Yeah. It's interesting. But that's what's interesting about this too, is because I guess as part of the deal, like Penn had to basically sell Barstool back to, like, they're disassociated with Barstool now. So like it's kind of like they just like cut Barstool or sold it back to Portnoy is what the reports are. Now they're partying with ESPN. That's like a whole meta element to it as well. I mean, like, if I'm not mistaken, it was like a month or 2 ago, they went through this whole like app refresh with their sports book and changed a lot of like how it was originally set up with like some, I think vendors had helped build it or some capacities, if I'm not mistaken. And
all right. So here's my hot take on all of this.
All right, let's hear it.
Are we sure?
Real quick.
Right,
Sorry. I hate to do this, but I haven't drafted a weekly winner. Someone just give me like one piece of information.
Elite QB is more valuable in this theory. They go higher because you don't really care about their bye weeks. You can just draft one quarterback if you do that and just like punt that week. People get a little bit more extreme with their like roster construction, where it's maybe they'll go 3 RBs and a ton of wide receivers.
But basically, Jack, it's the same exact round scoring system as a regular Best Ball Mania draft, except you're just competing against every single team for each week. So you're basically trying to hit even more of the nuts than you are in like Best Ball Mania. Like you make it to the finals there, it's 441 teams. In this contest, every week you're competing against thousands and thousands and thousands of teams.
You're competing against 111,000 people every week?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're drafting one team to do 17
GPP.
insanely challenging tournaments.
And Hayden just had a really good article out on Underdog, and one of the things it was looking at is like, and probably one of the biggest mistakes people make in this is having Best Ball Mania brain, where they're overstacking, where it's like that correlation doesn't help you in this format because you're trying to hit the nuts each week. So if I have like AJ Brown, I don't want Devonta Smith. I want those weeks that AJ Brown goes off for 30, not trying to alternate. I want the other guy next to him who can also go off for 30 in the same week as AJ Brown.
Yeah.
I also loved his point about late round tight ends. I thought that was
poetic. It was what's the point? Please share.
Well, just I got to go back and like read his actual point, but it was like he did note like the trend was basically like there's a strong cutoff between like the true tier ones at a position and then like the people that kind of get lumped into the tier 1 or on the back end or a part of that tier 2. So there is data that shows like Kelsey could really be like an outlier from a performance standard. But that if you take like 4 late round tight ends, like you're really just trying to get like an average of like 12 to 13 points. I think it was like actually 18 points. It was like higher than a receiver. But it made a compelling case for like 4 shots to get a mark versus like 1 shot with Kelsey is interesting with some draft capital as well.
What were you going to say, Andy? Chipsy.
Oh, yeah. So my hot take is, are we sure that ESPN is a better partner for a sportsbook than Barstool over the next 10 years? And I don't. I think the answer is no. I think the fact of the matter is Barstool has way more reach when it comes to like actual social media that matters with the demographic of people who are going to actually use the product. And I think there's like a really good case to be made that I'd rather be a Barstool sportsbook than an ESPN sportsbook.
Yeah.
Sorry, I jumped Mahomes in ADP to get Lamar.
I saw that. At first I was really confused, and then I saw it was you, and then I just
you got to get your guys.
What was your take?
My take is that Barstool actually has like more reach and is a better partner over the next 10 years to be running a sportsbook than ESPN, and I would rather be using Barstool's name than ESPN's.
Well, I think it's interesting because, like, I mean, Barstool's numbers have been not great in the competitive scape versus like other books. So it's kind of like they took the stab already. I think for them, they weren't. I mean, my take on it is like they weren't super happy with like the growth and the numbers. There was issues with the sports book, like they had issues with, like lines compared to other sports books and stuff. And
that doesn't get fixed with ESPN though. Changing the name.
Well, I agree. I think it's just they're going after just like a much larger base of like people because, like, I mean, Barstool might have more like reach, but there's still way more like people on the ESPN app or ESPN fans than
shout out to No Soup for You, who just did the totally Chad move of saying I could have Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, but I don't want it. I need Derrick Henry.
I wonder if he had like Derrick Henry in the queue and just like there's zero chance Mahomes never makes it back to the Kelce drafter, and then just like completely glossed over it. I agree with you too on it. I mean, in sports betting has been like the white whale, right? For like every sports media company. Like I haven't seen anything from ESPN showing that they can even like integrate it into their content at a high level. They have like one really good reporter, David Purdom does great work. They have that bet show that they've cycled through a few different hosts, but like how have they ever integrated it into their content in a really seamless way?
It's been pretty corny in a lot of respects.
My take, as I plan on grabbing Aaron Jones here at pick 30, is Andy, I'm in agreement with you like 99% of the time. Like I'm such team conversion and like eyeballs don't matter. But I kind of wanted him. Is T. Higgins still good?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I like T. Higgins.
My take is that I think that like there is still a level of reach, which is like while Barstool is way more prevalent in our lives, like ESPN, everyone knows ESPN and not everyone knows Barstool. So they're definitely getting that reach. You also have just like the trust component, like you brand it with ESPN. Now, the question is, how do they drive conversion? Like they'll have that trust, but if no one is going to play there, and I think that gets answered with McAfee, at least to a degree. Like I think that is, this is kind of the connection of all these moves is surrounding
McAfee.
Pat. But I agree with you. Outside of Pat, like I always joke about this, and someone made a I forget who tweeted it, but they were like, maybe it wasn't Kitchen, was it? It was someone, maybe old Roto Grinders guy. Fuck, I'm blanking on his name, but
Dan
he was like, yeah, like about Fox Bet, like they put it on Fox every single Sunday, like play our Fox Bet, and like I don't think a single person in the world ever downloaded that app because no one wants to listen to Jimmy Johnson like for betting advice. Now I think they solve a little bit of that with McAfee, at least from a trust component, pair that with ESPN, but I still do agree that they're going to need personalities. And then the last thing is the one thing that I think surprised me at least a little, but has become clear is like the 18 to 25 demo for sports betting specifically isn't as strong as I think everyone initially felt. Like maybe they have more degenerative behaviors, but like their bankroll is just so much less. And the one company that's shockingly been successful is BetMGM, who's just focused on like these super high level players. And that's a brand with like awful branding, awful app, but like still has players. So that's my
I'm a Breece Hall bull. You can't get me to not draft him if he shows up after ADP. I think it's a good point, Jack.
And don't you think in a lot of ways ESPN sees what McAfee did with FanDuel last year, like that Super Bowl promo, the amount of people they converted for that betting pro was probably an ungodly amount. And ESPN saying, all right, we make this big investment in McAfee. We know he can drive this. How do we capitalize on that? Like the biggest way for them to capitalize is to be the sports book themselves that they're getting all of these people on, as opposed to driving to MGM or another outside sports book. So they're just like, screw it. Let's just replicate the McAfee FanDuel playbook under our entire own umbrella.
Makes a lot more sense in that context.
Yeah, being the book is always going to be more advantageous than sending.
All right, what are our teams looking like right now? Let's do a through round.
Can we also point out here for the audio listeners? So the four of us hopped in a draft, and we got back slots. So Jack here from the 6, Clay.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
From the 8, and me from the 9. Here, I'll recap mine.
Tag team
AJ
from both
Brown,
ends.
AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Ramondre Stevenson, Justin Herbert, leaning into no correlation here in weekly winners so far. Andy, what do you got?
Yeah, I have Austin Eckler, and then Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields and Breece Hall. Same, not too much in correlation there, but just kind of happened to get both Jets guys. I really like Breece Hall.
See, you should let him slip to me, Andy. Like you didn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
it's one of those things where I don't know how to feel about him in weekly winners, where it's like, how many weeks are you gonna miss? But at the same time, like, I think I'm comfortable punting 2 weeks and then having Breece Hall for the rest of it if he's healthy, because he's so good.
Clay?
Yeah, I went Bijan, Tony Pollard, Deebo Samuel, and then I got Mike Dubb so far through 4.
Who'd you take for?
Mike Williams.
I got Kupp, Lamar, T, and Jerry Jeudy. I really want a running back though, but
now you're a 0 RB, bro, man.
Yeah, that's not kind of how I was planning on this to go.
There you go. Talk to us. Where do you get your ideas on Lamar Jackson at 19?
Well, based off Andy's draft, I think like the Fields and Lamar types, and this could be completely off base, but I feel like they probably have higher spike weeks than the rest. Like Herbert is extreme. Like I love him in season long, but in a weekly, like what is his ceiling? It's obviously like the 405 touchdowns, but that's just unlikely. And Fields, I mean, his his projection on Underdog is like 2.5 100-yard rushing games. So if you get 3 of those a season, you got a pretty good chance. Hold on, I'm on the clock. Kenneth Walker, he stinks, right?
I like Kenneth Walker.
I like Kenneth Walker.
Okay. I'll take him then. So yeah, I think those quarterbacks. I'd be curious to ask Tanner why Josh Allen before Mahomes as well.
Yeah. Where did
probably the Diggs, but
the Diggs? Yeah. Got to get that. He's lining up that stack. All right.
I basically never take more here or more ever, but fell 10 picks past ADP, stacked with Justin Fields.
I'm starting to buy a little bit into the DJ Moore Fields connection. I'm getting
Justin talking about the Hayden article. Basically, you don't want to stack more than like one player with your QB and don't overstack. Yeah, I think if you're going to stack up, you like want it to be like really late. Like I think you could stack up Mahomes with like Justin Ross, Richie James, stuff like that. It's just I don't like the premium double stacks, like the Higgins, Chase, that stuff. I don't think is good in this format at all.
Obviously, it's like tough to turn more away there, but in what world is Fields like having a top week and like it just seems like a lot has to go. Like for Fields,
he could definitely have a week where he rushes for 150 yards and has just doesn't end up with the rushing touchdowns and throws 2 to more. But no, I agree. Most of the time when I'm taking Fields, I don't stack him at all. He's like one of the only quarterbacks where I'm just like, I don't need to stack him. You're kind of taking him, betting that he's like just Superman by himself.
I meant to bring all my my best ball hot takes to the table, but a couple of them off the top, and who was making fun of me? Ashton. I know that T. Higgins. I know he's a good player. That was a joke. I know it's been a while. My sarcasm wasn't coming through here, but
God damn it, Andy.
Yeah, I wanted Gabe Davis as well.
It's like every motherfucker I've queued up, this guy snipes.
Hot take number 1, which might not be that hot, but it's like, why are people convinced that we won any Chiefs like outside of Travis Kelce? Like, didn't we try that last year with Juju and MVS and everyone?
But MVS was like kind of a winner, right? Or in the playoffs,
was it?
In the
playoffs. In the playoffs. Yeah.
I think it's because, and it's like we do the same thing with the Chiefs running back, right? And like sometimes the answer is just no one, to your point. Right. But it's also very easy to say, like, if one of these guys emerges, it's just going to be an absolute windfall. If someone can backfill behind Travis Kelce, and so it's worth taking stabs on that.
But is that their offense? Like, has that? I guess with Tyreek but no one on that team is even galaxies close to Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I think the bet is more so just like spike week, right? Where it's like, hey, I think the Chiefs are going to score the second or third most points in the league. That means you're just going to get a lot of shots at the end zone where maybe Sky Moore catches 3 touchdowns in a game. So I think I like them more in the weekly winners format than like the traditional BBM, but also you have a really nice week 17 for them. So I think people like them because of that as well.
Yeah, that's true. All right, number 2, just because it's close on the board, and I'll probably get sniped because of it. But I feel like David Montgomery is probably the best running back value, and James Conner, who's literally right after him, might be the worst. Thoughts?
Who is the first guy you said?
Montgomery.
Yeah, I like Montgomery. I I can't
Like,
click James Conner. It's too
how
hard to
could
click
you?
for me.
Like, how genuinely? The only reason I could click James Conner is because last night the Niners Cardinals was a Monday night game in Mexico, so we saw the Cardinals, and they got absolutely throttled. And they just continued to give the ball to James Conner, even though they were down like 24 points. But that's Cliff Kingsbury. They're going to be losing in every single game, like at least until Kyler gets back, which in theory might take away production from Conner. And Montgomery, maybe my take is I don't get the Jahmyr Gibbs fantasy hype. Like, I don't see the ceiling for him because maybe someone can explain that to me.
I
But
think the hype
where
there,
does that?
and
Yeah.
I'll agree. I like David Montgomery a lot, but I also like Jahmyr Gibbs. And I think the hype there for him is mostly that he is like profiling as, maybe a running back by committee, but also the like number 2 or 3 pass catcher on the team with how bad their wide receivers are. Like, I was listening to one of the Ringer pods today, and they were talking about it, and they're basically saying like the Lions are currently set up to basically have Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs be their wide receivers 2 and 3.
Right.
It's obviously not ideal.
Yeah,
But do we think but no one thinks he's going to be an every down player, right? Between running or lining up like at wide receiver. And if it isn't Amon-Ra going to be in the slot, like, what are you going to do? You're not splitting him out wide for a handful of snaps a game.
The thesis on Jahmyr Gibbs, it's like he's a souped up DeAndre Swift. He checks all the boxes from an explosive standpoint, and he's going to be on the fast track at Ford Field. They don't have a ton of options, and even though he might not get the touches to be a bell cow back, that he could hit home runs on 10 to 15 touches a game.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, with like Best Ball Mania, maybe he starts off slow, like we saw, like even like Jonathan Taylor, his rookie year, they weren't like using him that much at the start.
Right.
And then at the end of the season, they're like, all right, let's take the reins off here. So he's a fast finisher, which is obviously super attractive when the stuff is weighted toward 15 through 17.
Okay, hot take number 3. Who the fuck is drafting Sky Moore at pick 92? Like, did he play last year? Wasn't he a punt returner?
No. Damn, Tanner took Jahan Dotson from me. Yes, but everyone is just having a very quick memory with Sky Moore, specifically after Kadarius Toney went down and everyone's now back in because he's having a good camp.
Yeah, like Sky Moore, he didn't play. That's just slightly confusing.
That's why. So if you have that take, and I don't even think that it's a bad take. I mean, I think you should be windmilling it in on Rashee Rice at his price because they're not that different as far as like, yes, they have different parts in their profile, but when you just look at the draft capital spent on them, like it's a similar probabilistic bet, I think, on Rice as it was on Sky last year. And he's going, what, 4 or 5 rounds cheaper than where Sky
He's
went?
like 40 picks past him in ADP. But I will say everything that I've been seeing out of the Chiefs stuff so far, which granted is not that much, it's still early, is that like Sky Moore and MVS are like the 2 kind of locked in not locked in, that's definitely too strong of a word, but the 2 favorites to be like 2 of the 3 starting wide receivers. And then it's like healthy Kadarius Toney, Rashee Rice, Justin Ross, whoever else. I don't know if you guys have heard differently, but
I mean, I think Sky Moore's most bullish attribute is the fact that he's not a rookie and he's not Kadarius Toney. But
he's not good. See, that's the part where
I don't know how to make that judgment call.
A lot of fantasy Twitter struggles with is that when the player's not good, the reason why he didn't play last year is actually because he's not good, not for any other reason outside of like he had opportunity and he's not good, and like he couldn't beat out a hurt Juju or an invisible MVS.
You can say about any wide receiver in the Chiefs roster.
Yeah, people just get excited about that.
I'm not even excited. My point is like you make the same argument about Toney. You make the same argument about MVS. You make the same argument.
Yeah, no, I think
roster.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't take MVS.
I mean, I've been taking MVS because I think he's currently the number 1 wide receiver on their team.
I think MVS is the easiest click of all.
Wait, MVS is still in the Chiefs?
Yeah, he's their wide
Yes.
receiver 1.
Who's drafting MVS?
Me at 150. A lot.
Every single underdog draft, MVS is drafted in. I've never seen him go undrafted.
How many weekly winners Joe Flacco shares have been selected?
I think you could probably get some pretty good leverage on the field there with the Flacco pick.
Like week when he subs in for Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, exactly.
Jack, let me introduce you. Your take there was really a Noah Gray take. You need to come see the light.
Oh my God.
So, Jack, you
I
are
heard
still
Justin
getting your
Watson's the pick.
Justin Watson is probably a fine flyer because he is going to be. They like him. I think he's their punt gunner. He's going to be like active every single week. So that's something you can hang your hat on. But Jack, I know you're new to this format, so I won't pick on you too hard. But
No. I know you could take one quarterback. I was just thinking, what if Lamar spikes and David Montgomery's tired one week, but the 1 week Montgomery spikes, I'm like, why not have a little Anthony Richardson,
There you go. There you go, Jack.
All right. Yeah, hot take. When's my next pick? I'm up now. All right. Give me some guidance. So obviously I have LJ. So Odell or Bateman seems to be the pick. Right? But like Jameson Williams has to be the GOAT of weekly winners. Like, isn't he the profile for weekly winners?
Yeah, you don't get him the first 6, but you don't care because now you're just playing for weeks 7 through. You go. Okay. So you pass on Jameson. You threw the
pass on the GOAT of weekly winners.
Yeah, I figured if I do another weekly winners, maybe I'll like take him in that draft. But I did convince Clay to draft the GOAT. So.
You just talk my cue, easy killer.
I'm an influencer. Yeah, right.
No, Jack got heavily influenced by that. All right, what do we got going on here?
I don't really know. I don't feel good about this pick.
Let me give you guys some more hot takes. I'm glad that we stopped with the Jamar Chase 101. Like, people just got bored of drafting Jefferson. That was funny.
I still like Chase 101.
Yeah, you can't. No. Time out. All right. Now, see, this is where I get upset. You can't like Chase over Jefferson. There is no like. All right, give me the argument. Tell me why, besides the fact that you're bored and you don't want to take Jefferson, huh?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow, what? What's the point?
I trust his right arm more than I trust Kirk Cousins' right arm.
Okay, but Kirk Cousins. First of all, Kirk Cousins delivers plenty of footballs in the direction of Justin. Like, That's it. That's it. It's just because Burrow's better than Kirk Cousins.
The market agrees with you. Jefferson goes ahead of Chase in 90.
But I was saying like the cuties like Clay who were hitting him. Another hot take I have is that I said Bijan won't be good in the NFL. I want to get off record in saying that he's going to be pretty good.
That is a good time to backpedal on that take.
No, my take was that Bijan, after watching him for the last few years, he's best when he's like touching the ball 20 or 25 times. And my take is that in the NFL, no running backs touch the ball 20 to 25 times, as we've seen with this awful running back market. But obviously, Bijan on his rookie deal will touch the ball 20 to 25 times a game. So you guys can go ahead and draft Bijan. I sign off on that. Yeah.
I've been waiting for your green light.
Yeah, no problem. All right.
Wait, why are you so ahead? Like, what is your argument about Jefferson over Chase being like definitive? Because you didn't really say a whole lot of
Yeah, one moment. Let me just snag Jamal Williams, crowded backfield, or not. Also, I do need
to just signed Kareem Hunt, right? Like,
no,
he's not busy the Colts.
I
need to take a page out of Diana Rossini's source game because she sourced Hunt to the Saints and then came back and like counter-sourced herself after Schefter reported it. It was kind of epic.
Counter sourced.
Remember when we had dinner next to her in LA and she was palling around with Vrabel, Jack?
Wait, she was at dinner there?
Yeah,
Oh, I
she
didn't
was
know
the one
that.
that was having dinner with them.
Oh. Wait,
Yeah,
she was. I thought it was just a bunch of wasted dudes from the golf course. I don't even remember her
Diana
being there.
Rossini.
That's funny.
I remember this story. Like
The Hunt stuff was hilarious today. So you have Hunt did a tryout with the Saints. Everyone freaks out. Like bag holders across the board, whether you were Kendra, Kamara, Jamal Williams, everyone freaks out, even though this was just a depth addition because they lost Eno Benjamin for the year. But then it's later reported that Kareem Hunt leaves without a contract and is on his way to Indianapolis. It's a beautiful day on Twitter.
Wait, people are drafting Rashee Rice at ADP 131 for what?
I just told you, if you're anti-Sky Moore, you need to be windmilling it in on Rashee Rice.
I think what Jack's
I'm
saying is he doesn't even want to draft
every
Mahomes.
No, Mahomes good. Although
So, but then
Jack's saying he doesn't
he has to
wanna
throw to
draft.
someone. Like someone has to catch the ball. Is Travis
right,
Kelce just
they
going to?
all catch the ball. That's the problem. No, it's not someone. It's all one. That's what. All right. Should I grab Rodgers here? Really, just like have a
I
good
think he
quarterback.
might have an aneurysm if you do that.
No,
Yeah,
please go for it. Please do it, man.
Get those 3 unique stacks for weekly winners.
I gotta get back on the draft board so I can give some more takes.
Are you guys taking any of this? Damian Harris is legitimately competing with Latavius Murray for RB2 nonsense.
Who?
What I've been hearing is that for the Bills, it's like a legitimate competition between Latavius Murray and Damian Harris for RB2.
Latavius, he's a solid vet, and if I need a chief, this is the guy to get. Jerick McKinnon. Come on, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
One of the worst. He did show a ceiling at times, but man, was the wheels came off last year.
Skinny Austin Eckler? Are you serious?
That's probably the worst nickname I've ever heard for Jerick McKinnon. Skinny Austin Eckler.
Shout out Deebo Samuel for being the absolute worst fantasy pick this season.
Hate this take.
Is Jack just looking at my team and then just rattling off player takes?
No, I'm not. Wait, why do you like Deebo?
Because he's a grown-ass man who's going to play in one of the best offenses in football. He's getting a quarterback upgrade this year. He's entering the season fully healthy. They're going to score a bunch of points.
Who's the quarterback upgrade?
The Trey Lance truthers, we waved that white flag a long time ago.
Wait, you guys did?
Time. We did. We collectively all swung the white flag and said we must move on.
You didn't wave LaVisca, right? That's still live.
Oh,
no, he got back. He came back after that
clip. Yeah, exactly.
After Hasta LaVisca, he came back in the fold.
All right, I'm just scanning.
I did take Rashee Rice after we got the Jack Mush there.
Yeah, that's always a good. It's always a good take.
Yeah, Jack, I agree, man. A lot of players bad and bust talk. Let's hear some sleepers, man.
Oh, you want sleeper? Well, I already said Chris Olave is my guy this year.
Not a sleeper.
I did want to say, yeah, he's definitely not a sleeper. The one thing that I was super bummed about not drafting early was like I would have drafted Calvin Ridley every single time. Now he's a little priced out, but Calvin Ridley is like literally one of the best wide receivers in NFL
also not
history.
A sleeper,
so
but I'm with you on this.
No, I know. So I'm excited for people to remember the GOAT. Do I take MVS? Nah.
You're just not going to get to you.
If you're betting against Sky, Tony, and Rashee Rice, you are going to have to start taking a chief here.
That's like a minus 800 parlay betting against those scrubs. Welcome to the team, Dalton Schultz.
Is that your first tight end? That works.
Yeah, I kind of wanted wide receiver 2, Sam Laporta, but Clay is all over me. All right, you want a sleeper?
Yeah, give us the sleeper.
All right. First sleeper, which may not appear as a sleeper, but Jackson Smith-Njigba is wide receiver 1 on the Seahawks, which is
we finally agree on a take
after DK Metcalf. So you should definitely grab him.
Give us a true sleeper going after like pick 130, like the range we're in now or later.
Oh, after?
that we want a sleeper, Jack. Jason is
I'm
not a
mostly on
sleeper.
by round 12. I'm mostly on auto draft. I'm
See,
not.
this is a hot take from your younger bro here. Gus Edwards will finish as a top 15.
Yeah, that
I don't hate
one.
it.
No offense to him. I drafted a ton of Gus over the last couple years. Well, 1 year he was hurt, but Gus, he's just not like you're never gonna give him 15 or 18 carries, even if Dobbins is out. Like the Ravens just won't do it. I don't think but for Spike Week, no. And he's not that good of a goal line back for how good he is and efficient. So he catches like he doesn't even look. You would never put him on the field in a passing down either. So I'm kind of anti-Gus from a fantasy. Like he was the Alex Madison to Dalvin in like you would be in a really good rushing offense, but just doesn't do it for me.
Then what did you think? What's the Dobbins take? I bought the dip on Dobbins in this draft. How are we feeling?
Respectfully to Mr. Jatavian Cavian, his agents, who I'm friendly with,
Oh, here we go. This seems good.
They're nice people, but let's just say between JK and the agency, like if JK sat out the year, it literally would not shock me. Like I'm not saying that he is going to sit out by any imagination, but it's just there's weird shit. And so I don't know how good of a rushing offense we were going to be this year.
All right. I thought we were about to get some inside info there on the. You're gonna need for this Humphrey pod, Jack. You're gonna need some more hot takes here. You're saving them all up for that.
Yeah, and I'll get even more sources. Like we'll be sourcing out here. You know, if Pat Ricard's gonna play, because then you do want to draft. You know, J.K. Dobbins. He's got his lead fullback in there.
I can't wait for Pat Ricard Alpha coming from the pod.
Yeah. All right, I'm looking for your. I'm okay. Sleeper, Sam Howell. Are you fucking kidding me? Eric Bieniemy is the GOAT. Like, what are we doing with this? The Washington Commanders are soon to be Redskins again. I don't know. Are like they Ron Rivera's throwing him under the bus. There's obvious concerns around Bieniemy. Like he just couldn't get the head coaching job anywhere with that offense. I don't care. I'm all in on Samuel Howell the third. Not actually all in. Oh, hot take.
I am all in.
Anti-sleeper for the sleeper range. My boy Roshan Johnson, just a vet's vet. What a guy. If you are drafting him in the 14th round, you might as well you just tell people that BBM is just a 17-round draft, because I don't think Roshan Johnson will contribute a single week.
That click felt so good, right? I've never felt more confident in a click.
Did anyone watch Roshan Johnson in college? Like,
no, because he was on the bench.
I don't watch college sports.
Was playing.
Yeah, he was behind Bijan. Justin Ross, Devinson, Kenneth Gainwell. Do people draft Boston Scott for the two Giants spike weeks, or that's
they do? Underdog preloads it with 4 touchdowns on your account, actually. Clay, you got the stack with Debo and Purdy. You got.
I have another hot take. Another one for. Wait, you drafted Purdy? Why do you need?
When Jack's not interrupting, Pete, we can go over my beautiful,
what are you, an
very
idiot?
smart correlation on this draft.
Quarterbacks?
Jack, it's a. We'll discuss after, my guy.
Okay. So
keep firing.
What do I want to point out here? Oh. You guys fucking let Chess Liam determine which Bills tight end to Dalton Kincaid. Are you fucking kidding me? Call me Checkers Jack and I will take Dawson Knox every time. Holy shit.
Jack,
Dawson Knox is my highest exposure.
The way your takes ping pong from actually pretty measured takes to just awful takes, it's just I'm getting whiplash.
Wait, why don't you like that take?
No, that's
Why
a
don't
good
you
one.
like this?
I'm saying
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Oh,
That was a good take.
It's your
Yeah.
Rashawn Johnson take that was bad.
Oh, I would put money down on Roshan not performing
Who
for
is?
fantasy.
Are you a Khalil Herbert or a Deontay Foreman bull?
I'm Roshan Johnson's the 4th running back on the team.
You're a
What
Travis Homer bull, is what you're
no field like plus Fields. I mean,
saying. Okay.
and honestly, like I watched Khalil Herbert run like probably 6 or 7 carries last year when they played the Patriots, and I was at that game. Kid he was a good back. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know like how he was doing that, but I think he's pretty solid. Also, I'm seeing all these reports. I'm seeing all these reports on like fantasy Twitter that like running backs are like actually good for best ball and weekly winners and stuff. Is that not true? Because the draft board is like all running backs.
I've missed that discourse. Do you have a specific source or tweet?
was
you're
Hayden's
at?
article too.
Wow,
I
had the
RBs
running
and
backs
the
tab
flex.
completely turned off on my draft at this point, and so I didn't even realize how bad it was.
Yeah, it's just running back. Okay. All right. So
I
I'm
think
gonna lock
it's
it
similar
on
in weekly winners where I think there is like I feel the same way too. Like I'm kind of like more enticed with more of the RBs at the top of the board than trying to luck box like a handcuff situation.
I mean,
if you get a handcuff and weekly
people are
winners,
just
very helpful
they're
too.
just leaving Curtis Samuel in Eric Bieniemy's offense. A guy who can line up in the backfield in the slot out wide. He could probably play quarterback if you asked. I mean, wouldn't want that, but
Curtis Samuel definitely lots of 20+ point games in his career, in his storied career.
No, I feel like Curtis is a spike guy. No,
he did have. So who was the quarterback? The shitty quarterback he had with the Panthers there for a couple of years.
Which one?
Not his name. I know.
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen was the one I was thinking of there.
that was the duo that was taking down weekly winner. Imagine you win 20 grand off Kyle Allen and Curtis Samuel.
Exactly.
What's the deal on Mecole?
Practice squad.
So if you actually look up Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore in the dictionary, their synonym is Mecole Hardman, because you fucking idiots just draft the same exact player every year, thinking that Patrick Mahomes is going to turn that. Tom Brady turned crap into gold. Mahomes doesn't do that. He just is the GOAT. So stop.
I'm glad you're workshopping all these takes before you sit down with Marlon for the bright lights.
Richie James, though.
Oh yeah, you got to do a bit with him where
where
he ranks all of the Chiefs receivers.
Oh,
there you go.
He's not going to know who they are.
That'd be even better.
That's a great clip right there.
What do you?
The Ravens are gonna play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, and I'm gonna be like, Marla, like, who are you lining up against? Like, you're CB1, like, who's their wide receiver 1? And he's pretty much gonna be like, they don't have one. Like, I should just guard Travis Kelce or Jerick McKinnon because he's obviously the most, ceiling dangerous player on the Chiefs. Wait, I like Richie James though. Didn't they pay him?
Yep. Jack, you finally found a Chiefs wide receiver you like?
Yeah, pick 183. He's the best wide receiver on the team. So, fuck. Tanner just sniping Richie James. Oh, I have another hot take.
Oh, God damn it, Andy.
Isaiah Likely.
That pick was.
I was just about to say, such a bad pick. Now for
fuck out of here.
For weekly winners / BVM, I guess no. We're drafting like backup tight ends in hopes of spike weeks. Like, since when do we do that?
Well, because
we're also
my
drafting backup
entire tight
running
end
backs and wide
strategy is to
receivers
draft
right now,
4
too.
tight ends late, and so it's just like the other options. Like, is Tyler Conklin ever going to put up enough points for me?
No.
So like he's
Likely's
unclickable.
fun, man.
And so at least like Likely, there's a world where Mark Andrews gets hurt. He's a starting tight end. He catches 2 touchdowns.
No,
like,
I get that.
Tell myself
You didn't see?
story.
No, he's running the wide receivers, baby. He's spreading. He's on the field with Mark Andrews.
See, that's the stupid shit. Is where people are like, oh yeah, he's like a wideout. Like, no, he's wide receiver 4.
Okay, and he's tied in 1-2.
You not being in on Isaiah Likely, not letting your homerism shine through.
No.
Likely.
Likely's a fantastic player, but it's like there's just not a if. All right, let me give. I know that Greg Roman's like literally the worst passing coach of all time. So everything last season, the last couple of seasons, probably not, something to count on. But the Ravens trotted out Deshaun Jackson, James Prochet, Devin Duvernay, and I'm sure like Willie Snead caught some snaps last year just for the fuck of it. John Brown was probably out there running around. Isaiah Likely was not,
I think got some burn.
Yeah, exactly. Like at defensive back. And Isaiah Likely was not getting snaps. So that's why I don't buy the wide receiver part of it. Like, yes, if Andrews gets hurt, I understand. But do we draft no one's ever drafting the backup tight end for the Chiefs unless
they do.
Unless you're Clay.
Literally, Clay does draft the backup tight end for the Chiefs.
That's what I'm hanging my hat on. It's my entire draft strategy this year, Jack. That's how we're winning the $3 million, dude.
Yeah.
Everyone's Kelsey. How is he going further up the draft board this year when everyone said he's too old last year?
No, I'm with you there. Fade the Kelsey podcast.
So if you're fading Kelsey, who should you be drafting? The replacement tight end one, Noah.
No,
motherfucking Skyzer.
If you're drafting Noah Gray, you're actually an awful person because you're just praying he tears his ACL.
Just say you're paying the rake. Don't say someone's an awful person.
Goodness gracious.
You have questionable morals and ethics if you draft Noah Gray.
I have to shout out Catch 3 AK.
Okay, who drafted Allen Robinson?
He has not drafted a single tight end yet.
Whoa.
Allen Robinson. What? That's hilarious.
You were right. Catch the AK, rounding it out with a single tight end bullet here.
What's the Marvin
like,
Jones?
I don't need multiple shots. I know who it is.
Who needs tight ends when you can draft Adam Thielen and Paris Campbell?
Yeah.
God
damn it, Jack. That's who I wanted.
I was going to take Hunter Henry. He was top of my
I
queue.
knew
I'm sharp, fellas. I'm sharp. I know you forgot. It's been a while. Who is drafting George Pickens?
Everyone.
Again, I did. He's on my team. That's really funny.
Why? For what?
Because Clay saw that NFL all day moment of his last year with that sick catch.
Oh my God.
All right.
No, but seriously,
I'm about to draft wide receiver 1 for the Houston Texans.
I drafted wide receiver 1. Robert Woods.
I thought you were going to draft wide receiver 1 on the New England Patriots, but you left him for me.
I think that's wide receiver 6 on the New England Patriots.
I prefer Taekwondo and weekly winners.
He's a better weekly winner.
PR spit. Exactly. Jack, what's your anti-George Pickens take? The people need to hear it.
Kenny Pickett, I could probably just stop there, right? Like Kenny Pickett.
There's been a little bit of Kenny Pickett bullishness in this offseason.
I think you should be banned from Twitter for June and July, Andy. And then just come back fresh in August, like after the whole summer of all the reports. No, I get nervous about Deontay and he will not be able to sustain both. Are we in agreement on that? Like it's one or the other?
I'm not in agreement.
No, I don't agree with that.
Really?
No.
You think
Deontay Johnson's a possession
and
receiver
are going to have 2 top? What is Pickens drafted at? It's got to be wide receiver.
He's probably going wide receiver like 25 or something like that.
Sir, this is a weekly contest.
Yeah, no shot.
Are you guys doing a draft next week? I mean, this was such a massive success. I think so.
I gotta finish this out with
guys. Who is drafting Justin Jefferson?
I'm all in on Justin Jefferson. I'm all in on Justin Jefferson. Let's make that clear. That is the guy to draft.
Everyone says you showed up to this podcast high, Jack. Can you confirm or deny?
Deny. No weed. But I have a banger to close this out.
No PEDs.
No peds. Thank you, Neil. Neil knows. And you don't want to be in the majority, right? The majority doesn't win, $20 grand every week. Do you think All right, what would you set the odds at that someone wins twice with the same team?
Like with the same team, no less. Because I was gonna say even the same user with 150 bullets is like astronomically low.
Yeah, like
Much
0% chance.
Yeah.
Like honestly, just like no, like just
What?
no.
How many teams are drafted? Like 115,000. So it's
Yeah.
115,000 times 115,000, or one over
Yeah.
115,000 twice.
So in that case, wouldn't it? I feel like wouldn't it? You want me to explain Tyler Scott? I know you like that, GA. After I told you that DJ Moore is the worst pick on the board, wouldn't it actually make sense to just like target a single week?
Yes. People, that is something people do. I'm skeptical that that's the best way to construct teams, but it's certainly something you can attempt.
I mean, I get why like you wouldn't want to draft the two quarterbacks, like based on like the odds of you hitting are so low. You're just playing for the one, so you probably get an edge if you fully not correlate, but you like if good teams are playing and the you know how it goes. Tyler Scott. So Tyler Scott actually came on our old podcast and he told me he's faster than Tyreek Hill. So my mind, it's like, well, Tyreek Hill, like he spikes all the time. And then I saw a tweet that he had a nice touchdown grab in camp the other day, and it's like, are you kidding me? Some like mini Tyreek Hill, pretty much. Although Tyreek's pretty mini. Only difference is that Pat Mahomes and Justin Fields are not quite the same caliber of quarterback. But that's the thought process on Tyler Scott. Would not draft him in a BBM, but weekly winner.
All right. I need to go take care of my child here, but I do want to hear, Clay, it sounded like you were cooking up a Galaxy Brain strategy that you want to share. Were you doing a bunch of like week 6 correlations or something?
No. I was more, it wasn't that Galaxy Brain. I just was if I miss out on the top QBs, I really like just trying to skinny stack them and lean into that. And just like, I just think that try to like take the slot machine approach. And I just want to have like, if I can get my quarterback and wide receiver, boom, finishing top. And then I just got to figure out, get a couple upside at running back, upside at tight end, and then you're cooking. So if I'm not getting the elite quarterback and going one QB strategy, I like going 3 QBs and single stacking them with upside. So I think all 3 of these were up, Goff attached to either JMO or Laporta is kind of fun. I got Purdy with Debo. I can see some spikes happening there. And then Sammy Howell with F1, which is my most bullish pairing of the entire offseason. So
Who?
Samuel Howell and Terry McLaurin.
You already gave your stamp of approval.
What is F1?
Sam Howell.
F1 is his nickname.
McLaren F1. Anyways, Andy, you went with
What?
Where have you been? That's been for like 4 years.
Scary Terry. His nickname is Scary Terry.
F1.
Fantasy Twitter had this argument like 3 years ago. We're far past having this nickname.
I'm just catching up on those tweets. What are you talking about?
Andy, anything else with your team here other than the late 4 tight ends?
No, it's a pretty generic team. I got a decent amount of week 13 buys, but it was mostly just a draft guys who I think have spike weeks, best player available.
What's this bye week strategy real quick? I know that.
Basically so Justin Fields as my quarterback has a bye week 13. And so the more players who I have also having bye weeks week 13, I basically have just completely punted that week because I only took one quarterback and his bye week was that week. And so the more players, I don't take a huge account to it, but if I'm breaking ties between 2 players and one also has a week 13 bye, it just gives you more bullets on the other weeks where Fields is playing.
It's basically saying like the majority of the competition on average is going to have X amount of bye weeks on average, and you can tilt that away and have less bye weeks if you try to concentrate them on a single week.
Yeah, I feel like that and some of the other strategies we talked about are kind of like what Christopher said, which is shooting to place each week, not worried about winning. But I feel like that's a bad, like, doesn't that all feel like hedges? Like I'm regretting my Anthony Richardson draft pick in this case.
Yeah, I would not have done that with the capital you spent on Lamar Jackson. Like when you take Lamar in the second, which isn't even bad, it's just saying like, I want to build lineups around the Lamar spike weeks. How do I win when Lamar goes off?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a hedge, but it's not, at least the bye week stuff. That's more just getting some nicer, just more opportunities. And like, so it's just like, I want to draft guys who I think have chances at spike weeks, and just, I'm playing for 16 weeks out of the season, not 17.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna pick a week. Maybe this will be my bit in August. Maybe I won't max enter, but I'll just like pick 1 week in the NFL season and be like the fucking expert on that week, and just crafting the ultimate draft strategy on like week 9. Just being like, well, the Bears play the Packers, but that's outdoors, and the weather forecast 90 days from now. Like maybe that's what I'll look at.
All right, don't touch week 15, 16 though.
I ended up doing something I like doing in this format when I get an elite quarterback and an elite tight end, and just saying like, okay, can I get Herbert and Pitts to be the top scoring quarterback and tight end, and then build everything else around that, and then just leaned into player takes on all guys that I think have big upside. They're not a ton of correlation. I did reach to get Quentin Johnston because I wanted one kind of stack with Herbert there. Otherwise, we're just ripping it in with a bunch of players with a wide range of outcomes. I did.
Okay, how many? Real quick before you go, how many of those last 4 wide receivers you drafted will be on the roster by their team's bye week?
You mean be on the NFL team?
Yeah.
All of them: Rashee Rice, Jonathan Mingo, Chase Claypool, Tyquan Thornton. Yes, I will take that back.
I'll fade that all day. I'll fade that.
You think the team is cutting 2 of their rookies that they drafted early in the 2023 draft?
Mingo will make it. Rashee will probably make it. But the other 2, Chase Claypool is unlikely.
He's been like the best wide receiver at Bears camp. They're not cutting him. They just traded. What did they trade for him? Was it a late first or early second round pick for him? Get out of here, Jack. He's farming.
JGFC, the meta is honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't realize Rashee Rice was their draft pick. I like him a little more now. But Tony and Sky Moore, no thank you.
We gotta end this show.
The meta is draft running backs and draft in August. Champion comes in August this year.
It'd be a great in-season sweat though. These weekly, we've set ourselves up for great content in season for the club with these weekly.
Oh yeah, this will be fun sweats.
Yeah,
so I look forward to it.
Appreciate you guys joining us here. Thank you to Underdog, as always, for sponsoring the club, even though they might regret their decisions after a show like this. You could join us in the weekly winners. Check out that article that Hayden posted.
Sponsored by ESPN Bet, coming soon.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see you guys next Tuesday on the club. Peace.